Welcome to 2024, all my Sniff Juniors and Westworld searchers, and I just want to remind you, if you're somebody who searched NHL bets because you couldn't think of anything more clever, and you clicked on the first video and you saw me, you are a Westworld searcher. So in the comments, you could say, "Hi, Andy, my name is Dan, and I'm a Westworld searcher." And as I told you the other day, I love people named Dan because you don't meet Dans anymore. That's right, 3 letters. D-A-N, Dan. I remember going to Croatia as a kid, and they're telling me their names. Oh, you know, I'm Miroslav, and I'm this. And I'm like, hi, I'm Dan, Mike, Bob, Ty. You don't meet that anymore. You hear names of kids, and it just sounds like the old... I had a dog named Twister because he used to chase his tail. Twister is more likely to be a human being now. The dogs and the humans, we've all switched places. So I'd like to welcome all you Dans to the channel. Comment, I'm a Dan, and I'm happy to be here. Hopefully you are, and hopefully you're down for some Tuesday NHL sniffs. One great thing about the new year is you probably haven't lost a bet since last year, but then again, most of the people who are watching this channel, what am I talking about? You had a ton of bets in yesterday. You were betting the college football playoff and the Winter Classic. And unfortunately for you, you probably still don't have your car. But 2024, you want your New Year's resolution, the one that you're going to stick to. I'm not going to constantly go against the grain. When Andy tells me something early in the year, and I fall for the trap like every single idiot who's ever lived, that October and November, that's the team, and that's the end of it. Like when Andy says the Carolina Hurricanes are a really good team, and they're going to be one of the best teams in the Metro, at worst second, at best first, I'm going to stop fighting him idiotically like I've been doing all season. When he tells me the Washington Capitals are just going to free fall like a kamikaze pilot, I'm not going to say, hey, what happened in game 27, idiot? The Washington No, you're going to trust me because the free fall is going to continue for them. And why do I bring this up? Because I went to Old Money Puck and I saw the updated Stanley Cup odds as of New Year's Eve. Well, look who's number one. Look who's number one. And then after that, go to the old videos and just see how idiotic the people are in the comments. No foresight. Whatever Brand Stark is, you, and I'm not talking to all you. I know most of you guys trusted me and you're like, I know Carolina's going to come around. They're going to be really good. I'm not talking about you. But behind you. Go look at your old comments and see how idiotic they look now. And this is year after year, year after year after year. I told you to take Colorado to win the division. When they were out of the playoffs, they weren't even in a wild card spot. I said, take them to win the division. They win the division. Year before that, Stanley Cup playoffs, when I started here. Tampa Bay Lightning down 3-2 in the series versus Toronto. I said, take them to win the East. And then I got to hear all you maniacs. They go down 0-2 versus the Rangers. When are you going to learn? So your New Year's resolution, I'm actually going to absorb information from Andy, and I'm going to stop fighting against the grain. Now that we got that understood, how about we talk about that free-falling kamikaze pilot known... And sorry, I keep bringing up kamikaze pilots. I just found it fascinating when I was watching a World War II documentary, like how these guys voluntarily were kamikaze pilots and took a shot of sake. I'm not lying. They did that and then just went to do what they did. Hopefully our bets don't head in that direction, but I'll tell you what, the Washington Capitals season is quickly going to head in that direction. And has it started now? Has these 4 straight losses where they just can't score game after game after game after game because they don't have a reliable offense or special teams? Has that started to flip your thinking a little bit? Well, I don't know, but you guys know when I talk about bets that I like when a storm with a low front meets a storm with a high front, and that creates a tornado. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. How great is that when they call themselves meteorologists opposed to guy who can read a prompter properly? Calling a weatherman, a guy on TV, a meteorologist is like when a delivery driver calls himself a craft service expediter. No, you bring pizza from the oven to my door. You're not a craft service expediter. But the Washington Capitals are going to bring to your door a nice loss tonight because they're playing Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, while I don't have faith in them in the long run, do not like the construction of that roster, they're playing their best of the year at the moment. And I told you every single team, no matter how bad you are, like Anaheim earlier on, now look at Anaheim. We try to ride the coattails of teams who are playing their best on the year. What's another example of that? Look what Winnipeg's been doing. Do we think Winnipeg's going to win the Stanley Cup? I certainly do not. But I know that they're holding other teams down. They're limiting scoring chances. They're relying on Hellebuck, and Connor's not there. So they're really making simple plays. So we're making money on unders. We're making money on many specific Winnipeg Jets bets. And now you got these Pittsburgh Penguins. Blanked the Islanders 7-0, then came home after that game. They won a close one against the Blues. It was 3-2 in the third, added an empty netter, then beat the Islanders 2-1. And a wink to you that a team's playing well and it should be replicating itself is when they're holding teams to 3 or less. You can trust a team who's keeping other teams off. It's not, oh, we won 6-5 and then we lost 5-3, and then it's not these wacky results. But when the results always look kind of similar, we had a 4-2 or 3-2 in the third, 2-1 in the third against the Isles. That's what you want to bank on, because that's what builds confidence in streaks, when you're holding 1-goal leads and you're shutting teams down in the third. And I know Pittsburgh's not a defensive team by any stretch of the imagination. And it's in Pittsburgh, and the bonus on this one is we're getting a decent price. Washington, you guys know what I think of them. If you're showing me like a minus 170, minus 180, I'll show you a good time. Give me the Pittsburgh Penguins in that game. Now, I just mentioned that they started that streak against the New York Islanders. They beat them 7-0, and they beat them 2-1. Because the Islanders, they were living not on a prayer like Bon Jovi, they were living on a power play. I said to you guys like a week or two ago, I've never said this sentence out loud. The New York Islanders have a top 5 power play. And I wanted to say it out loud and enjoy that moment. Why? Because I knew that thing was gone. That thing was going to be out of here. And of course, they haven't scored a power play goal in 5 games, and that's dried up, and so have the Islanders' wins. And they are conceding left and right. The chances they're giving up, chance after chance. And they're still missing 2 of their top 6 defensemen. They did get Scott Mayfield back. But the Isles, the offense seems like it's dried up these last few. Their top 6, like their top 6 forwards, haven't scored in 4 games now. And that's very concerning. But what's more concerning is they're going into a building against a team you do not want to be bad in your own end while not scoring in the offensive end. And that's the Colorado Avalanche. This is a great spot to take the Avalanche. The Avs, I think they've lost to the Islanders at home once in like 6 or 7 years. Now, granted, there's only 1 game there per year, but I know firsthand experience, they handle the Islanders pretty convincingly. And with the way the Isles have dried up on the power play, the chances that they've been giving up, this is a great opportunity to take the Avalanche. And when you look at the Avalanche, like minus 170 or something like that against the Islanders, that's just a great price. Those are 2 games, great prices on both. Now, another team who has been playing great hockey, we talked about them at the beginning of the year. More of the doubters, more of the maniacs. I said, this is a good team, but look, it's early. Oh, okay, never mind. All right, let's never talk about them again. The Edmonton Oilers, they were one of the 2 Stanley Cup favorites along with the Carolina Hurricanes before the season started. Awful start to the year. Now, they ripped off 8 wins in a row, lost 2, and then have won every single game since then. But more importantly, one of the biggest issues that has plagued them has been goaltending. You guys obviously know about the Jack Campbell Chronicles, but Stuart Skinner has played very well in this recent stretch of hockey. I know in those games against the Rangers and a bunch of these last few, he's made key saves when the game was still in question and when it was close. So when you couple that with the fact that the guys are clicking now in the top 6, I mean, they're running up the score on some of these teams. They got the offensive identity back, and they're putting these goals in. And now they're facing a Flyers team who's dropped 2 in a row, pretty long road trip here. And as I mentioned to you guys a couple months ago, when these 2 teams played in Philadelphia, a key in this game is getting up on the Flyers early, because when you get up on the Flyers, they have to chase and they have to open themselves up defensively. But if you get up early on them and then have them open up, that's when you can really run up the score. So I like Edmonton in this game with a little sprinkle on the puck line as well. And I can't give you any props yet because I waited. It's late, but they still didn't put them up. So if you guys want to get the props that I'm going to put with these games, you know what you can do? You can join my Patreon. I'm going to put a link down below and even a little pop-up that comes up. That's where I post the tickets, and that's where there's a chat thread. There's a lot of Ruckus in there now. We have a Ruckus chat and a non-Ruckus chat, but there's a lot of people there who are throwing their 2 cents in and other bets they have, and it's getting wild in there because there's a lot of people. But that's where I can communicate updates and whatnot and add tickets, because there's obviously new information. I make this video the night before, and then what happens? Oh, Vasilevsky's not starting that game, so take me off that under. Or this guy starts, Skinner's not playing, so there's a freaking, all right, well then give me both teams over 1.5 and an Oilers win opposed to the puck line. There are many adjustments that have to be made. You'd be very silly to think, oh, nothing's going to change after all the announcements that are being made during the day, the following day. So you can go there and enjoy the fruits of my updated sniffs on patreon.com/Andy Francess. But if not, don't worry. I do the best I can here with the information I have the night before. And you guys, usually when you come here, I know you're a pirate. And if you're a new user, if you're a Dan and you found this channel, you go, what is Ruckus? What are pirates? Pirates are the people who just want to rip massive parlays and see a big fat plus 950 or something like that. So what I try to do is figure out games that are going to go over, games that have Ruckus potential, games where you look up and it's 3-2 after the first, and you can stack player props, which will build those same game parlays. Look, if you're going to think smart, that's not the way to be. We call those noble Englishmen. Those people have their cars, they have ships, and they bet things individually. Like if you have the Area 51 analytics at Odd Shopper Premium, all those are designed to bet straight, and in the long run, you're going to be up on the year, and they tell you by plus EV which are the best ones to take. And if you want to do that, I got the link for you, a private Area 51 link that if you sign up, I actually get a little credit for it. So if you want the analytics picks, but if you're a regular guy, you're a 9-to-5 bettor who wants to bet something straight, I do think Odd Shopper Premium is good to have. I try to give you guys some picks here that we build, some parlays around, because I know the parlay pirates are mostly watching these videos. And I see one that stands out for the pirates. So far, this has been a noble English video. Hey, it's the first video on the year. I want to have some class. But then at the end of the day, after school, after the bell rings, I'll talk about Ruckus a little bit. What do you want to do later? You want to do a little Ruckus? Do you sniff what I sniff? I really like that one too. I know you guys, from what I've heard, you guys really get the song stuck in your head. You can sniff your own way, sniff your own way. That's if you don't like my exact picks, which I encourage. I'm trying to teach sniffers here. So the Ruckus game that I see on this slate, Ottawa-Vancouver has the highest potential. There are other ones possibly, but I know Pittsburgh gets involved in some Ruckus games, but Washington nullifies that. Edmonton gets in some Ruckus games, but Philly can nullify that. So when it comes to the Ruckus, I'm looking at that Ottawa-Vancouver game. We know Vancouver's offensive potential, especially on their home ice. Ottawa may not be a great team in terms of wins and losses, but they can go into any building, score 5 goals, be up 4 goals, and lose in the third. That's what we're looking for with Ruckus. We're looking for points here, points there, points everywhere. And this game kind of has that potential. Ottawa just scored 5 in their last game in a win. Now they're going to Vancouver. This one, it has the ingredients. It's that Sanderson Sisters Witches Brew. So if you want to take somebody on Vancouver for 2 points, we can go with a classic, the 1A Pettersson. And then if you want to go on the Ottawa side, we could take Josh Norris. Or did I see that Thomas Chabot is back? Because that could be a great value. Thomas Chabot, 2 for Elias Pettersson, and the over 6.5. Or you can always flip it the other way. If you really want to try to get a big payout, you do 2 points for Brady Tkachuk. And then remember, if you take the underdog on the road and you pick a guy from that team to get 2 points and one guy from the home team who's a favorite to get 1 point, then take the underdog at plus 1.5, because you're already up by 3 goals essentially. So if you're right about those, then Vancouver would have to hit 3 more goals in order for you to lose that plus 1.5. So the guys on Vancouver that you want to be including for 2 points on that Ruckus side, if you want to, would be Pettersson, JT Miller, and Quinn Hughes. And then on the Ottawa side, it's so many of them because they're all so involved. Batherson and Stützle, Giroux, Norris, Brady Tkachuk, like we said. So there are plenty of opportunities between the players on these two teams. And feel free to sniff your own way. But if you want mine, if you need the Andy ticket to put in, you don't want to sniff your own way, okay, that's fine. Then give me 2 for Pettersson, give me 1 for Giroux, and give me the over 6.5. That's the one that I'll put in. Maybe you guys can help each other. All the sniff your own way crowd. Put your version of the Ruckus same game parlay. Doesn't have to be, like I said, doesn't have to be the over. You really think Vancouver's going to win? You can do 2 for JT Miller, 1 for Tim Stützle, Vancouver to win the game. All sorts. You can do a 2 points and 2 points and nothing else. These all spit out fat plus money for you dirty, filthy pirates. And that's what I got for you here on this Tuesday. Good luck to you. Of course, new year, same good luck to me. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for my Wednesday picks. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want, come join the Patreon and you can get the updated picks and join the chat thread. I'm also going to do, I'm toying with the idea of doing a live while there's a full slate of games because a lot of people have been joining the Patreon. So if there's that many of you, then one of these nights, I don't want to call it a thank you, but while the games are on, like a full slate of games, like next Thursday night I saw, I'll do a live stream and talk as the games are going on and what I'm thinking and stuff like that. We'll see. We'll see. But that's what I'm planning on. Hopefully more of you guys will join me over there. I'll be back with you tomorrow to talk Wednesday Sniffs. I'll see you then.